Welcome back. We're going to have more on the breaking news about the earthquake in Northern California later in the program and throughout the day here on CNN. But now let's turn to the biggest media story of the week. It's a hard one to talk about. It's the murder of Jim Foley. He was a brave, brave American reporter. He was abducted in Syria almost 2 years ago while doing his job, and he was beheaded by an ISIS extremist. The video was uploaded to YouTube this week. We are choosing to show you scenes of his life, not of his death. Jim became a journalist in the mid-2000s, and I want you to know him as a person. You know, like so many others, he was inspired after 9/11 and after the invasion of Iraq to tell the stories of the people that were being affected in the Middle East. So he picked up his notebook and he went to some of the most dangerous parts of the world: Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Libya. And he was even abducted once before in Libya in 2011. He was released after 6 weeks. Putting aside Jim's obvious courage, remember, he was also doing a job. He was a freelance journalist on assignment for a website called Global Post at the time of his abduction. So that's where I want to begin, with two executives who have been on the other side of this story. Earlier, I spoke with Phil Balboni, the CEO of Global Post, as well as Gary Pruitt, the CEO of the world's single largest news gathering operation, the Associated Press. Phil, let me ask you what your experience has been like over this last 2 years. Ever since Jim Foley disappeared in Syria, he was there on assignment for Global Post. So what responsibility did you feel throughout this process, throughout this ordeal?
It was total, Brian. You may remember that Jim was abducted in Libya during the civil war there in 2011, was held for 45 days. And, you know, I supervised his recovery, and we formed a deep bond over that. But it would be true for all of our reporters that when you send somebody into harm's way, you've got to be responsible for them all the way. And Jim was such an incredibly brave man, and we will always miss him.
I know this is very sensitive to ask, but is there anything more that could have been done as he traveled back to Syria, covering something he thought was so important to be doing?
You know, I don't think so. Jim was smart about combat situations. He'd been in Afghanistan for us, then in Libya, and in Syria. He knew his way around. He had the right equipment. He stayed in touch. On that very day, November 22nd, 2012, he was only about 15 kilometers from the Turkish border. He'd come back from a reporting mission in Aleppo. So he was very close to being across the border and safe.
And most recently, we've now learned about the email that was sent from ISIS to the family only days before this video was released. It must have been especially excruciating for you having to do all of this in secret and not knowing what the outcome would be.
Yes, I mean, that's a very important point. I mean, you know, I've been in our profession for 46 years, and every instinct that we have is to tell what we know. But we always followed the family's wishes, and we knew that if there was any risk to Jim, that we didn't want to take it. And that's why we withheld. We amassed so much information about the captors. We interviewed all of the other released hostages, all the Europeans that came out starting in April. We knew about Jim's captivity, how brutally he was treated by them. Jim was singled out, in fact, for more abuse than any of the other hostages, perhaps because he was American, perhaps because he was a strong and compassionate person.
Gary, I know you must unfortunately have faced similar situations. At the AP, do you have any journalists right now who you fear are in imminent danger in various places around the world?
This is an issue that strikes close to home for AP. We have lost 33 journalists over the course of our history, and beginning with the first AP journalist killed covering the news, covering Custer at the Battle of Little Bighorn, up through the most recent killing last week in Gaza.
Let me underline what you just said, last week in Gaza, because 3 of those deaths you're describing have happened this year.
That's right. That's right. And It has been a difficult year and a more dangerous time for journalists.
Is it
perhaps.
getting more dangerous? Has it ever
it is.
been this dangerous before?
It's the most dangerous we've ever seen it, and in part because journalists are being targeted now. It wasn't too many years ago that journalists would have emblazoned on their vest press, or they'd be riding in vehicles that would have press written on the vehicle to provide a degree of more safety, because combatants typically wouldn't target the media.
Gary, I want to ask you about something you wrote in the immediate aftermath of the ISIS video release of the execution. Let me put it on screen. You said, "We believe the assassination of a journalist in wartime should be considered an international crime of war. The murder of a journalist with impunity is a threat to a free press and democracy around the world." I think what you're trying to convey is that now is the time to address how to keep journalists safe and to declare these to be crimes of war. Is that right?
That's exactly right. I mean, if not now, when? Here we have journalists targeted, killed, held hostage, tortured, and arguably this is a war crime now. These are civilians and held hostage and killed. But I think the world's countries and international community needs to recognize the role that journalists play in informing the world, in providing the news from the front lines that is indispensable. And for them to be treated as combatants, to be held hostage and killed and targeted, is abhorrent and a war crime.
I think your point about volunteering, feeling they need to do this is very important. And it was true for Jim Foley as well. His friends and family have talked about how devoted he was to this story of Syria, a story that has not gotten enough coverage, in part because it is so dangerous to cover. And Phil, I wonder how this affects your thinking about trying to cover Syria going forward. How do you and other news editors figure out when it is possible to send a reporter into Syria?
It's not now, Brian. I mean, it's after Jim's abduction, and of course, for many months, we didn't know where he was, whether he was alive, or who had him. But we did not send another journalist inside Syria from that point on. It's suicide for a journalist to go into Syria now.
Phil, do you think Jim Foley would have wanted the U.S. to pay a ransom? Would have wanted Global Post to somehow find a way to pay a ransom?
Oh, I do. You know, we never hesitated on that. I mean, I'm fully conversant with the United States laws on this. I'm fully conversant with the kind of body of discussion in journalism about paying a ransom and how it might stimulate others. But when it's your person, your child or your colleague, and you know it's the only way to bring them home, that's what you do. And that's why the family, with our help, was deeply engaged in raising that money. And we ran out of time when the bombing began. That sealed Jim's fate, unfortunately. These people don't have any mercy. And if they can't have money, they'll have revenge. And they took it.
What was the particular amount that they demanded?
We did learn from the European journalists who were freed the amount of the ransoms that were paid by their government or with their government's assistance. And it was in the range of 2 to 3.5 million euros, or let's say around $5 million. We felt that $5 million was the amount that we needed to raise in order to bring Jim back.
And Gary, let me go to you on the issue of ransoms as well. Where do you and the AP stand on this? Has the AP ever been in a situation where a ransom was demanded like this?
Well, you may recall that Terry Anderson was taken hostage for a long time, an AP reporter, and no ransom was paid in that case. And I don't know the exact details behind that on the ransom. And we don't have a stated policy on that. You
say that there's no policy. Does that mean potentially the AP would pay a ransom?
No, I'm not going to speak to that one way or the other.
Gary Pruitt, the CEO of the AP, and Phil Balboni, the CEO of Global Post, thank you both for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.